Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach. Life has offered every alternatives to me, but I won't waver. I'd rather hold on to every promise you made.
I'm sure you all like that music interlude. Again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Redeemers Men's Fellowship Lagos Province 1 Convention 2020, the flagship province of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, under the leadership of Pastor Samuel Bode Olaniyan. My name again is Ayobami Olubiyi, and I've been given the mandate to lead the men in Lagos Province 1 Redeemers Men's Fellowship. Our mission is a Christ-oriented ministry for men, by men, who through the gospel of Jesus Christ emphasize the biblical importance of family, encourage personal growth, and through love, prayer, and fellowship. This morning, for the next 2 to 3 hours, we shall be encouraging webinar participants in 3 areas based on Redeemers Men's Fellowship mission as follows: having courage and conviction to navigate post-COVID-19 fallout, building and funding agro-business, and number 3, funding opportunities in agro-business in Nigeria. The following 3 truly distinguished gentlemen, led by our esteemed Assistant General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, in charge of education and training, Pastor Ezekiel Odeyemi, will set us up this morning to new spiritual heights post-COVID-19, followed by 2 successful brothers in the corporate world, Babajide Arowoshafe, Executive Director, Technical Directorate, Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for Agriculture and Lending, NIFSAL PLC, and Wale Oshin, Head Agribusiness, Stanbic IBTC Bank. These 2 individuals, my brethren, are reforming agribusiness in Nigeria. So we are highly honored to have these 2 gentlemen in our webinar this morning. My beloved participants, please plug yourselves into every word of our esteemed speakers, because that will be a game changer in your life and in my life. There'll be a follow-up post-convention webinar for those that have indicated interest in following through in about a month's time, subject to confirmation and availability of brothers Arowoshafe and Oshin. Our technical team have dropped Google form in the chat room for your action if you want to follow through after this convention. We want to walk the talk and make a difference. Finally, I encourage you to be strong and courageous and be of good cheer, because there is a path to outstanding business opportunities in the midst of current challenges. I am convinced the challenges shall be stepping stones to the top. God bless you all.
Thank you, Pastor Wale, for that solid foundation for the next 2 sessions that we're going to have. Let me say this before I go on to introduce our next speaker. I remember, I think way back in 2016, when we brought Dr. Teriba. I mean, Nigeria was just trying to recover out of the recession that we entered therein when the oil price was at a free fall. And everything that Dr. Teriba said at that point in time, actually, trust me, was exactly what happened. I remember at one of those meetings in my office, I was able to use some of those information and to get traction based on what we learned at that event. So I want to just let you know that you're in the right place this morning, and the next set of information you'll be getting will be very useful for you, as long as we don't allow ourselves to be distracted. So our next speaker is Mr. Babajide Arowoshafe, and is an executive director, technical of NASA. He's an highly experienced public and private sector professional with over 20 years experience in agricultural policy advisory, food security intervention designs, rural and commercial agriculture development, and agricultural development investments and finance. He holds a bachelor's degree in agriculture from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and a master's degree in agricultural policy and administration, agricultural economics. Over the last 20 years, he has completed several training programs in finance and development. As mentioned by the VP, he is a former Commissioner of Agriculture and Natural Resources in Ekiti State. He has also worked in various capacities with development and financial institutions, including the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, the World Bank, International Finance Corporation, and EcoBank, formerly Oceanic Bank. In his time as Commissioner, Mr. Arowoshafe supervised the design and implementation of policies, programs, and initiatives to facilitate inclusive commercial, agricultural, and agribusiness development. So this morning, let's feel welcome Mr. Arowoshafe, and I want us to please pay attention to every details that he's going to be sharing with us. You are welcome, sir. Over to you, sir, Mr. Arowoshafe.
Thank you very much. I will be sharing my screen now.
Please go ahead, sir. Nice. Yeah, we can see your screen, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much once again. I just want to use this opportunity that I have to appreciate the people that have spoken earlier on. He said something very important, that is in the Lord. They've mentioned very critical to us that God, as far as is concerned, is already assured our future. God has empowered us, like the AGO mentioned, He's empowered us. And if you look at the theme of this particular convention, it says be strong and be very courageous. It's not just saying that you should be strong and be very courageous for nothing. He said, look, be strong, be courageous to take opportunities, move from where you are to the next level. And you know, there's this particular Bible verse that that is so common that we always talk about. It says, when men are saying is a casting down, it said, as for you and your household, it will always be a lifting up. My prayer for everyone that is listening this morning is that even during this period of pandemic, the Lord will create opportunities for you that will lift you out of the current challenges that you have in Jesus' name. I'll be talking about building and funding agribusiness. But please don't let us forget the principle in this. It's about you owning the word, owning the word that have been shared with you, ensuring that you take up every opportunity that comes out of this. And I always share a particular place in the Bible, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 13. It says that whosoever despise the word shall be destroyed. But whosoever, fears the commandment, take ownership of the commandment that says that be strong and be courageous to take opportunities. The Bible says that he will be rewarded. That's what Proverbs 13 mentioned to us. So please, this is an opportunity for us to take ownership of the word that we have had today and the ones that we will still hear further, because your future is assured. So building and funding agribusinesses or agribusinesses. We all know that agricultural business in Nigeria is beginning to take shape. Let me use the word is beginning to take flight. I don't need to talk more about that. Pastor Wale has mentioned it, that agri is actually, look at what had happened. Every other sector nosedived. But when it comes to agriculture, it's so resilient that it's actually still growing, despite the fact that we have pandemic. I'll be speaking to a whole lot of issues around it. I'll be talking to emerging opportunities with regards to the agri space in Nigeria. I'll be talking to agriculture as a business itself, talking about the emerging business scope that we have in the country. Then how do you actually realize and build your agribusiness dream? That will be a major focus for us. Then we'll briefly look at the source of funding for agriculture in Nigeria before I wrap up. So I'm very sure that the other speakers too will talk more to this same topic, so to say. It's just a way to continue to, push it down to push it to us that agri is the space to actually be. Let's look at the opportunities that Nigeria actually present to you and I. We all know Nigeria is blessed, and like the president of AFDB, we always talk about the opportunities that exist in Nigeria. We're talking about land, we're talking about water, we're talking about labor, we're talking about market. Nigeria is actually a market of 200 million individuals, or population of 200 million. That's huge. That's huge consumer population that you want to actually give attention to. You cannot miss it when you play within that particular space. We have labor, a lot of huge supply of labor. We have water, we have land. You have a lot of countries, most especially in Africa and across the globe, that have land but without water. You have some that have water but they don't have land. But Nigeria has blend of these four: land, water, labor, and markets. And that creates huge opportunity for you and I to begin to look towards the potential that agri can actually add to your bottom line when you decide to step into the space of business. Maybe just to talk more about this, if you look at it thoroughly well, the ecological system in Nigeria, we have what we call the rainforest, the Guinea and the Sudan savannah. So anything that can grow in the rainforest, you can actually do it here in Nigeria. Whatsoever can be grown in the Guinea and the savannah forest, they can actually grow here in Nigeria. So that means we have a blend. If you go to the northern part of Africa, you will see that what they have is more of a desert that cannot grow anything. Yet, they thrive in agriculture. But this is us in Nigeria. We have the rainforest, we have the Guinea, we have the savannah, and yet we are not taking much opportunities of agriculture when it comes to agriculture. We have 88 million or 84 million hectares of arable land, and yet only less than 50% of this had been cultivated. So that creates room for you and I to come into the space of agriculture. If you look at the topography of Nigeria, you have what we call the mild altitude, you have the floodplain, you have the low plains. That means whatsoever commodity or produce that you are considering in this world can actually grow in Nigeria. If you go to the Jos side, you can see that anything you grow in the temperate area in the Western world, you can actually produce it out of Jos. If you come to the southwestern part where Lagos is situated, you have the waters, you have that you can grow rice massively, you can grow cassava, you can grow, name it. Anything that can grow in the forest that can grow in the southern part of the country. And also you have many other things. You have, like I mentioned earlier on, population of 200 million people. You have 70% of them even operating within the agri space, but still yet, agriculture only contributes just 22 to 25% to our GDP. That can be increased if you and I decide to actually operate within that space and take opportunity, be very courageous to go in and take opportunity out of it. And one of the major issues too that makes agriculture to present huge opportunity to you and I is that if you look at our import bill today, Nigeria actually do more than close to $1 billion, a billion naira, a trillion naira importation when it comes to agriculture. Use and even in a competitive structure in the country, but still yet most of us don't go into that particular space. And if you look at what we export with regards to agricultural goods, we only export close to 260, 270 billion naira worth of goods, when we should be doing far more than what we import into the country. And that shows you that that particular space is still very empty, seeking people to come and operate within that space. Let's look at the word agriculture and agribusiness. What does it mean to be in agriculture, and what does it mean to be in agribusiness? Most of us have heard severally that, look, yeah, we're talking about agribusiness, not really agriculture. Either way you want to look at it, it presents opportunity for you. Agribusiness is actually any business of agricultural production, processing, marketing, name it, trades that includes agriculture, whether it's breeding, whether it's crop production, processing, name it, farm machinery, seed supply. The moment you begin to work within the space of agriculture, then you are, you begin to work in the space of agriculture in a commercial manner and expecting returns from it, then you are within the space of agribusiness. And agribusiness spans across the entire value chain of agriculture. You can do agribusiness in the pre-upstream level, you can do it in the upstream, you can do it downstream, you can do it midstream. So far, there is a gain expectation from you, then you are in agribusiness. And that agribusiness offers a whole lot of opportunities for you. Opportunities in the area of international business. It offers to you business ownership arrangements in production, in processing. It offers to you also natural resource mining. Let me put it that way. It offers to you farm and ranch management operation, financial consulting. It offers to you commodity trading opportunities, marketing opportunities, logistics in terms of trading, logistics trading, transportation, and many other areas. This particular space offers those opportunities to you only if you can be courageous and if you can be strong enough to get into that space. And for you to get into that space, there are certain principles, very little principles that are required. And one of the things that the fellowship has done for you is to begin to connect you to those opportunities. But there are certain things that will be required of you for you to be able to build your own business within the space of agriculture. Number one is that you must be able to plug into the local business network. This is one of the networks that you have plugged into this morning. And beyond that, you need to look for other subject matter networks that you can plug yourself into to understand how agri dynamics work. Then also you must begin to build and maintain profitable relationship to explore agribusiness opportunities. Most of us are just in relationships that actually bring fear to us, that do not allow us to explore our paths, that do not allow us to explore being courageous to plug into opportunities. But I want to encourage you today that building and maintaining the right relationship that will add profits to you is what you need at this time of the pandemic. You must be able to develop a business plan that is sustainable based on experience on what you see on the field. You must be able to gain additional knowledge from the field on how agriculture works. And this is one step forward with regards to the meeting that you are in this morning. Also, part of the principle that connects you to these opportunities that we're talking about in agriculture is that when you begin to, seek a process of operating an enterprise of your own, whether it's support service, whether it's production, whether it's sourcing from farmers or sourcing and handing it to farmers or process, name it. You must begin to position yourself to begin to gain opportunities from the agri sector. And like I said, all the value chain space is virtually empty, waiting for you and I to plug into it. I will, from this moment forward, I just want to share this table with you, because when we're talking about opportunities in agriculture, I've actually looked at Lagos, where most of us that are in this convention are based. And I've tried to put in a tabular form where we can actually gain opportunities, where opportunities exist within our environment. And number one is the aquaculture. Lagos is known for fish, the fish sector in Lagos is booming. And that's a sector that some of us can actually key into. We can begin to look at how to aggregate fish. Let me give you an example. I'm very sure that some of us know that every day in this country, people move fish from Lagos, people move fish from Oyo State into Abuja to sell. That's fish aggregation, and it's huge business. That's something that most of us, our eyes are not open to such opportunities, and it's something that we need to begin to explore. I've always imagined, and people move it in baskets, they move it in bowls and the rest. Imagine if you set up a logistics system that can actually truck tanks of fishes and push it into Abuja or the northern part. That's huge business that most of us, our eyes are not open to. We can be there is very huge and massive opportunity in the canning system of fish in this country that nobody had explored. And most of us will buy the sardines of this world, the geishas of this world, but those opportunities exist here in Nigeria. Input supply for fish is another major area that we can begin to look at. And a whole lot of area of opportunities in fish production. You can begin to look at how to even primarily produce fish. There are a whole lot of species of fish that we can produce and market across Nigeria. But most of us don't look at those opportunities, so to say. The cassava production, or let me use the word arable crop production, not just cassava alone. You can look at rice production. Rice can grow anywhere in Nigeria, but most of us do not even know that. And let me share something with you today. Lagos State has one of the largest rice mills in Nigeria, about to get operational. The Lagos State governor had actually been moving around seeking for where he can get rice paddy to feed that mill when it becomes operational. Meanwhile, our youths are there saying they don't have something to do. You can easily get land within Lagos, within Ogun, within Oyo, within Ekiti, and do rice paddy production to supply that meal. And this is huge tonnage. And we're expecting that that particular meal will come up in 2021, early 2021. And still yet, Lagos is still moving up and down, looking for how to secure rice paddy. If you remember, some years back, Lagos had to go to, what's the name of the state? They had to go to Kebbi to go and secure rice paddy. You can imagine that. This is the same rice paddy that can be grown in states boundary Lagos. And you and I should begin to look at opportunities for that. We have on cassava, you can begin to do chips. 80 to 90% of derivatives of cassava products like starch, chips, flour are actually imported into Nigeria. And this is the same cassava that you and I, if you just take a stick of cassava, put it in the ground, it produces tubers right away in another 10 to 12 months. Tubers is ready for you to process. Meanwhile, we import almost every day, whether it's ethanol, whether it's starch, whether it's sorbitol, name it, we import all this. These are things that we can actually turn around by producing it, setting up a processing plant, setting up a production operation to actually supply major manufacturing system if you meet those standards. And these standards are easy to meet. These are opportunities that we're presenting to as many of us that are here this morning, that you can begin to look at cassava production, cassava processing to feed in the gap that exports substitution is going to leave us with. Then we have a lot of fresh fruit production in the country, most especially in the southern part of the country. You know, there are seasons that comes on board and we produce fruits. But still yet, I'm sure that most of us know this particular figure, talking about fruit production in Nigeria, that close to 50 to 60% of the fruits that we produce in this country is always wasted during their peak season. And opportunity exists for us to go into fruit processing. And you would have seen now that a whole lot of new packaging system is coming on board where you can easily dry fruits and, you know, preserve it for the low seasons. And it comes at premium price when you buy it during those periods. These are opportunities that you and I can go into and make our gains out of it. So you will see that the agri sector actually presents a whole lot of opportunity, huge, massive opportunities for you and I. The part that I would like to talk to before I move to the next slide here is plantain. A whole lot of us take plantain chips. In short, when you go to supermarkets now, you see good packaging of plantain chips. These are opportunities that that is still very green. The way and manner in which people consume plantain chips in this country is massive. And what people like us are looking for is good packaging that can give us that level of confidence that what we're buying is good. So that creates a massive opportunity for you and I to explore. How can we do good plantain chips? How can we process it, package it thoroughly well, and serve the high-end markets? These are things that we need to begin to look at. I will just share before with you. I've tried to highlight here some specific opportunities for you and I to consider. And enough to step into that space. Take, for instance, if you decide to go into retail distribution for beef, just set up a system that, buy a cow, do the slaughtering, do the thorough packaging, and support homes with it. You will be, getting a return on investment of close to 16%. I'm very sure savings doesn't give you that. I'm very sure that government bond, a treasury bill doesn't give you 16%. So these are opportunities that we can go into. And what is just required as total investment for you to go into this is just 16 million naira. And if you are able to push in, so you can imagine if you are pushing in 16 million naira, you get a funding arrangement for 16 million naira, you will be getting minimum of 16% return on investment. If you go into fish production that I've mentioned earlier on, just do fish production, not even processing of fish, just do the production from fingerlings to table size. You will be getting close to 33 or 35% return on investment. And all you just put into that venture is just 700,000 naira. So imagine if you have close to 5 million naira that you push into that production operation. Imagine how much you'll be earning at the end of the day. And we're talking about a project cycle of just 1 year. So you will see that agric business, present to you massive opportunities. There is a particular a new arrangement that is coming on board, as we call it cocoon storage. What is cocoon storage? It's just a form of storing grains. We all know that the northern part, there are a whole lot of grain production there. And during the high season of harvest, the price is always very low. That's December, January. By the time you're getting to March, April, the price almost doubles. So why can't you go into a storage system that, you get these grains from the north, you put them into storage facilities and wait for the high season where you can actually get, for the low season after harvest, where you can actually get premium price for this. And that you can do within 3 months. And what had happened with the current opportunity that the ban on maize is presenting to you and I is so massive now. So even the 7% that I'm talking about here does not, it should be around 50% return on investment, because the federal government had just banned importation of maize into the country. And what that had done is to create huge gap. How it will create huge gap by the time we're getting to November, December, January, that if any one of us can think thoroughly well and go into that commodity trading now, buy the grains during harvest and keep for some 2-3 months, and you can make good, serious money from it. And you will see other produce that I've actually put here, cashew processing. Most of us take cashew, and most of us always, we don't know how very juicy that business, the business opportunity that cashew nut processing presents to you and I. The minimum you can get from putting in just some maybe 50 million naira is 13% return on investment. Minimum. And with what is happening globally now with the pandemic, you will see that these figures that we're talking about in terms of return on investment, we shoot up to 40-50%, only if we take courage and be strong to explore these opportunities. So you will see that agriculture actually present to you massive opportunities. And like Pastor Wale mentioned earlier on, it's actually a resilient sector that you can be sure that whatsoever investment you put in there is well ring-fenced. I will quickly talk to building your business, your agribusiness opportunities now, agribusiness enterprise now, and I will just speak to some very key pillars that we need to keep focus on in building agribusiness operation or getting into the agri enterprise space. Number one is that you must understand the agricultural industry sector. You must understand it. Most of us, we always rush into it and get our fingers burnt. You need to understand that sector thoroughly well. You need to actually get latest industry insights. It's very important so that we know the specific areas that we're going into and be able to get well guided when we are taking decisions on what to do. We need to analyze thoroughly well emerging trends. One of the things that you would have noticed that pandemic has actually brought to us is online marketing. People no more they don't want to go to the market. They actually want to do online shopping. Can we begin to look at or explore opportunities in the area of e-commerce when it comes to agricultural produce supply? These are areas that we can go into. But for you to do that, you must do your proper analysis with regards to emerging trends so that you'll be able to check behavioral changes and be able to lead an agenda that is sustainable beyond just assumptions. Then you must understand where your markets are growing. Like I said, e-commerce, agricultural e-commerce is just being exploited now, is massively growing, is an area that you and I can actually begin to look at. Then also, you must make very smart decisions when you plan to grow your agribusiness or when you plan to, to establish a thorough agricultural business operation. You must be able to, to stay smart when it comes to decision making. You must get the most recent business tools or facts and keep focus on it. You must develop an informed opinion when it comes to future industries. Informed opinion is that because most of us don't want to do those brain work, but it's needed for you to sustain yourself or build yourself within the agribusiness space. You must, be thoroughly informed on the future of business, the future of work, the future of agricultural enterprises, so that you know calculatively what you are going into, and it will help you to take the right decision. And like I always tell people too, don't trust your instincts and support it with data. Your gut feeling will always tell you this is an area to go into, but I advise always support it with good data. Ensure that everything you live on in going into agribusiness, in building your agribusiness arrangement is, has a solid foundation on data. Understand how much cocoa is being sold globally. Understand the ups and downs of, global sales of cocoa. Understand the data on the ups and downs of cassava production. Understand how best to do cassava production, where to do cassava production better than the other places within the Southwest. These are areas that you need to give attention to, but let your instincts always lead you. And I tell you, if you're a child of God, your instinct is not really yours. It's actually being driven by the Spirit of God. So trust your instinct and make sure that you do a good dive. And lastly, on this, you must grow your agribusiness too. And to grow it, After you have been able to understand the sector, you are planning to make good decision, you must understand or be able to understand how the agribusiness grow. You must be able to decide and decide and only try. You must decide and only thrive on commercial sustainable pathway or commercially sustainable pathway. A lot of us go into agriculture and we make losses out of it, but you must be very calculative based on data, based on the knowledge and the insight you've sent into that you get into the industry, you get concerning the industry. Decide to thrive only on commercially sustainable pathway. So that brings us to the issue of business planning. Your business plan must be sound, must be thorough. That is the language that commercial finance institutions listen to. So you must be able to, to convince yourself through figures that whatsoever you will output will be good enough. Then in terms of uh, sales too, when your business is up, you must learn how to increase your sales by focusing on your customers, creating a niche for you. We will talk more about that. Creating a niche for yourself, and don't follow the bandwagon. Just make sure that you are focused. You know the set of people you want to service, like the e-commerce. They are very clear on who they want to service. So also you, if they take for instance, if you go into aquaculture production and processing, and you dry fish, you can just decide and say, my fish that is being processed is heading to, take for instance, London, where it commands high premium price. So you can begin to think about that, and you remain focused when it comes to your customer arrangement. Then when you are through with all this thinking and calculative arrangement, then you can raise appropriate finance. And I use the word appropriate finance. Don't use long-term funds for short-term arrangement, and don't do otherwise. Use short-term funds for long-term arrangement. You need to know the type of funding that is needed for you to take on opportunities, and always seek advice. It's very important that we do that for us to build our agribusiness. And what I've done here is to come up with strategies that is good for you and I, that is taking on these opportunities within the agri space. Whatsoever agri operation or business that you want to do, always know that there is competition and you must not be edged out. So you must keep very strong attention to it and know how to beat others to that. You must always learn how to disrupt the market too. A past way of doing business are not going to work or be effective for you and I. You must always look for a way that will bring services more comfortable to our people, using technology and whatsoever means that I can actually disrupt the system and make you very, very relevant within that space. Also, you must learn to adapt to modern marketing challenges with new approaches. Most of us, we've been in other sectors, but please, when you're coming into the space of agriculture and you want to do agricultural business, you must learn to adapt to modern marketing arrangements, new approaches when it comes to marketing strategies. Learn new approaches. Make sure that you keep very strong attention to create adverts in special ways, good content, make use of social media, and you will see a lot of it. And you see a lot of people now coming up with applications, coming up with websites where you can just get into and make orders for agri-produce to get to your doorstep. Those are the type of things that you can do when you are building an agri-business and give attention to it. for you to be able to sustain yourself in it. Appeal to modern operations too. You know that in this era of millennial consumers, young people, that's who we have now, and they are just looking for what will appeal to them. So when you are looking at setting up an operation, it must be modern enough to speak and appeal to their needs in a modern fashion. So technology-driven arrangement. Take for instance, I've shared it with some people earlier this week, saying that look, the federal government had turned billions of naira into the market and into the production system in the country. And one of the challenges that we have now is that because of the amount of funds that have been pumped in there, there are a whole lot of production going on the field that actually attracts huge risk when it comes to infestation on the field. Let me use maize as an example. There's something called armyworm. Because of the increased level of production of maize in the country, there is this worm called armyworm that is being experienced. There's nothing that says that some of our youths cannot come up with drone technology that can support actually drone technology and technology that can detect that early enough on the field. And you can offer that as a service to people in production for them to be able to survive armyworm infestation. And that comes at huge premium. And you'll be well rewarded if you can think through how that will work on the field. Then also, you must be able to, in terms of disruption of industry through technology, I've mentioned it earlier on, from medicine to transport, name it, pharmacy, even church now is being disrupted. So you too, you must plan a system that will be able to give back and meet the needs that disruption causes in the system. Then you must be able to use that data to stay ahead of the game. Data is very key. Don't go into agriculture when you have not done enough research on that space that you want to step into. Data is very key. Get enough data about customers, get enough data about suppliers, get enough data about the market. And when you have this data, you use it to inform your judgment, your decisions, and it will keep making your business to grow in agriculture. Consolidation of suppliers and buyers own pricing structure and make your own goods to be very competitive. Give very strong attention to that as well. Then, with regards to with what I've just said, you will see that it's very important for you to know clearly where and how you want to go into agriculture. It's important for you to understand the space and the opportunities. It's important for you to understand the different actors within that space. One of the things that is always missing is the funding side of things, which I will talk to, and I hope that other panelists will talk to it more. There are a whole lot of funding sources that you can use to actually create opportunities and cream opportunities. Some of those funding opportunities includes actors' household funding or savings. When some of us want to go into agriculture, the first thing that comes to our mind is that, look, I need to approach a bank. How much have you been able to save? Can you approach your own household Can you approach farmers to produce for you and use their own funding for that arrangement? Those are opportunities that we can always explore in terms of funding. We have the capital markets. These are areas that we can explore. We have allocation from government, budget allocation. Like take for instance, there are a whole lot of palliative funding support that is in the space of agriculture now, that you can actually apply for, get, and use it to thrive within the space of agriculture. The Central Bank of Nigeria actually gives us a lot of concessionary funding opportunities too. We have the Anchor Borrowers Program, we have the AgSmith Fund, we have the CAPS that actually sits on commercial banks and balance sheets. But you can approach the central bank, you can approach commercial banks and be very specific. I want to benefit from the prime anchor window of Anchor Borrowers Program. I want to benefit from AgSmith Fund. I want to benefit from CAPS Fund. I want to benefit from AADS, that's looking at government side of funding arrangement now. But if you do not do a thorough research on this, then you will just be aloof. There are other development finance institutions that have funding windows. The African Development Bank, they actually have huge private sector funding window that you can approach. For those of us that want to do large scale operation, you can approach them for their private sector window and they will expose it to you. You have the DBN, that's the Development Bank of Nigeria. There are wholesale funds. So a cooperative that is huge enough can approach them and say, look, we need an wholesale fund that we want to retail to our members. You can come up with a group and you can approach a financial institution that can take wholesale fund from development finance and then development finance institution like DBN to retail to you. You have International Development Agency, UNDP, IFC, USAID that have funds that are even grants. There are a whole lot of grant funding on the street that you can tap into to thrive within the space of agriculture. You have your community cooperative that you can actually leverage on as well. And you have a guaranteeing issuing institution like NISA that you can approach to say, look, I need your guarantee and the facilitation of finance into my business. And we will come out with an arrangement with you to help you source funding for such business. So there are a whole lot of funding arrangements that exist for you to thrive within the space of agriculture. I've just done a table to make it more specific for you and I. And this table speaks to very specific funding arrangement or windows that you can get from these financial institutions. Number one is that at CBN, you have what we call the Anchor Borrowers Program, and it comes at a single digit, and you can take it for 1 year to do production or operation. You have AgSmith that you can actually take an AgSmith loan for 5 to 7 years and use it to thrive in the space of agriculture. You have the CAX fund, which most of us know about, and you can approach your bank and tell them that, look, I need CAX fund. I need to, to take CAX, CBN CAX fund at 9% to thrive my business. And you can see the characteristics of those funding arrangement there. And you can see the target market is targeted towards SMEs, smallholder farmers, SMEs, big businesses that wants to do short-term production operation, that want to do long-term business establishment, and so forth, and so on and so forth. So you have different funding available for you to thrive in the space of agriculture. You can see we have ADS, we have paddy aggregation. I've mentioned that you can actually do paddy production. You can do paddy aggregation for industries. You can move to the north to thrive in. You have a BOI, giving out funds too for you to set up industries, small scale industry, medium scale industry. So these are opportunities that you can approach and get funding for with regards to finance. I've just tried to merge the funding opportunities with with the different business arrangements. So they are there for us to see. You can go into seed production, fertilizer, retailing, fertilizer, wholesaling, livestock production, aquaculture, and you can actually focus your attention on getting venture capital arrangements, equity funding windows to drive your business. And for you to do those arrangements, there are specific funds arrangements that are good for it to thrive. So basically, this is what it's all about. And I want to pray for you and I that, look, as we step into the space of agriculture, my prayer is that the necessary courage that the Lord has given to you will make you excel in it. There is a part that speaks to NISA, which I'm not going to talk about, but if you go into commercial funding, NISA is ready to draw back that particular interest rate of 18-20%, draw it back by 40%. NISA is ready to give you guaranteed support for you to go into agriculture without needing collateral. These are things that you can explore. Information is necessary. Get to our website and definitely thrive in agri. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Arowoshafe. Very simple, but very elaborate presentation. Thank you very much, sir. And thanks for breaking it down for us. We appreciate you. And we pray that God will continue to bless you. And as you represent us, the body of Christ in the marketplace, we pray that greater heights the Almighty God will give to you, sir, in Jesus' name. So we're going to try to take a couple of questions now. I have two questions that have been posted in the chat room while the presentation was going on. So please, if you have any question, please write them in the Q&A section. If you go to the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A section there. So we're going to want you to please put those questions there so that we can coordinate from here. I have two questions that were posted in the chat room. I can see that towards the end, Mr. Arowoshafe actually spoke to them, but maybe for purposes of emphasis, I'm going to read out the questions so that it can help us do further justice to them. The first one is, what do you mean by segment? The segment, when you were talking your presentation, you used the word segment, midstream, upstream. So I think that's the first question. So I'm going to, for purposes of emphasis, I think so that towards the end, the last slide that was captured there, but please, can you help us speak to that a little bit more, sir, so that we can have more clarity on the segment that when you were talking about in your presentation?
Just to answer that, let me just go to that path. I hope my screen is up now.
Yes, sir, we can see it, yes.
So that we will all understand what it means. So that the agricultural value chain is divided into majorly three segments. You have the upstream segments, the midstream, and the downstream. Basically, the upstream segment is where you have support services, production operation, where you produce, let me use the word produce, where you just deal in producing produce. While the midstream is where you have the manufacturing operation going on, processing operation, infrastructure, business arrangements, and the downstream is where actually whatsoever had been produced is shipped to for marketing. So the marketing operations, trading operations, whether it's consumer trading operation or consumer marketing operation, export marketing operations, or factory marketing operation. So that's downstream. So it's just the value chain. You have different segments within it. You have the input segments, you have the production segments, you have the different areas of areas where you can actually deal in, where you have the opportunities lying. So the most area that most people are more conversant with is the production segment that lies within the.
Thank you, sir. We can't hear you. Looks like the volume says.
The midstream converts it while the downstream markets it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll also take this other question. It says that, please, can you shine more light on easy accessibility to bank loans? Maybe, I think towards the last part of your presentation, you also spoke about this, easy accessibility to bank loans. I mean, the question, I mean, the person that asked the question wanted to know, what are other means of getting funding for?
I want to say it, and I think a lot of us do not have confidence in our government. But I think a lot had happened in the past few years. I can tell you that if you go to NISA Microfinance website today, you don't need to visit their branches for you to have access to funding. If you just type Google NISA Microfinance and check for the Ask Me window, all you do is online, is virtual. The only time they will call you to their office is when they have processed your loan, and be sure that it will be processed. But because of past experience, most of us do not really believe in government. But I want to tell you that you can have easy access to loans now. You can actually participate in the Anchor Borrowers Program. All you need is a cooperative. You come together as a cooperative if you want to do production operation, and you make your application either to a commercial bank or directly to the Central Bank of Nigeria, or you can bring it to NISA, and I can assure you that will be processed. So far, there is commercial sense in what you are presenting to us. And so also you have other several windows that you can always rely upon. But what had happened is that technology had made things easy for us now. Everybody is going virtual. Just go to NISA Microfinance and you will see a whole lot of windows for you to actually apply. And if you have any issue, you can always call me. I mean, organizers have my number, and I will put you through. And you can be sure that you will get such funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The next question is, thank you, sir. Please, what is rice paddy? How does it work? What is rice paddy?
Sorry for that. Okay. Right, it's a very simple thing. When you grow rice, what you get out is what we call rice paddy. What you harvest is what we call rice paddy.
Okay.
So it is that harvested paddy that you sell to industries, to processing plants, to convert to rice. So rice paddy is just simply rice with a coat around it called husk. So that's what you harvest. Then you take it to a processing plant, or you can set up your own processing plant, which is a simple structure to dehusk it, to remove the husk from the rice and make it prepared for us to eat, ready for us to try that. So rice paddy is what you harvest from the plant.
Thank you very much, sir.
Facilitator, please. Yeah. Again, thank you, my brother, for the excellent presentation. Let's ensure that a lot of people have been asking what's his phone number and all of that. If you recall, when Kayode started his presentation, he has told us that we're going to have a link where every one of us will indicate our areas of interest. And like he said, yes, RMF can put up a cooperative for us to be able to have access into funding. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's listen very attentively and take note of every word that has been uttered. And by the time Wally also comes to present his own paper, we're going to see that we're all just going to be in a win-win situation. But it takes a whole lot of effort for us to be determined to make it happen. Thank you, Babajide, one more time. And of course, I'm going to yield the microphone back to Kayode Alawande, our facilitator.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll just take about some few more questions. If we still have time, we'll take the others. So please, in case I'm not able to take your question, I will combine questions that are asking the same question so that we are not repeating ourselves. Somebody wants to know that, he said he's a commercial farmer. He wants to know if every bank participates in the commercial loan schemes. Then he's asking to seek to benefit from the AFDP. DBN opportunity. Is it every bank that can be approached for it? The same thing was asking. Can I just walk to my bank to request for any of these facilities?
Okay, that there are different financial institutions actually, participate in different windows. Say for instance, almost all the commercial banks that we have in Nigeria participate in the concessionary funding window of the Central Bank of Nigeria. That's talking about Anchor Borrowers Program, AXMIS Fund, CACS, the DCR funding arrangement. So all banks in Nigeria do that. All you need to do is to approach them and be very specific on what you the commercial banks. With regards
Sorry, sir, we lost you for a minute. We lost you for some minutes. Can you just recap what you said in the last few seconds?
Okay, I said that all financial institutions in Nigeria participate, or the deposit money banks participate in the concessionary funding window of the central bank. But one thing that is most important is for you to go to the CBN website thoroughly well, to get information from their site and approach the banks. Then with regards, and they do the Anchor Borrowers Program, the AXMIS, the CACS, the DCR window, it's there. But please get information so that you can speak to specifics when you approach the deposit money banks. And but there are some that are very specific to concessionary funding window of the central bank that are good in that. Say for instance, there are like 3 or 4 major banks that are into that. Stanbic is there, Sterling is there, and 1 or 2 other banks that are good at that. So they have agri desk that you can always approach to do that. Then with regards to international funding windows, AFDB has a branch here in the country, and they've always been complaining that there are not enough medium scale to large scale businesses that come to explore their private sector window. People always see AFDB as just issuing out sovereign funding arrangement. No, they have a private sector window that you can explore if you are a businessman. So get to their website. The contact details of their person that is based there in Nigeria dealing with that is always on their website. Approach them. And there's something that that Pastor mentioned earlier on. There is nothing that says that RMF cannot set up a huge cooperative system that actually can approach on behalf of their members, approach this institution. So far, we have a ring-fenced arrangement that actually guarantees return of this this loan that we're taking. Then we're good to go. And like we always say, we're ready to be part of this arrangement. So far, we have a good structure to support that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think some of the questions have been answered. How do we commence participate on the agribusiness? Do we join ourselves together as cooperative? Yes, the answer is that's one fundamental way to benefit. So I'll take that question as answered. Somebody's also asking, is greenhouse farming possible in our environment? I think
I can tell you that only that I didn't have time. One of the slides actually talked to that. Greenhouse farming for a location like Lagos is huge business that returns premium, most especially vegetable production. With greenhouse farming, you can actually do massive vegetable production that you can push straight into the market, whether it's retail market, whether it's unstructured market or structured market. It's huge money. I mean, in terms of return. And it's something that is being pushed. Greenhouse farming is massive. Please go into it, look at your numbers, talk to institutions like Disengolf that supply greenhouse structure. You come together as a group. We don't have lands in Lagos. Like a little land and put greenhouse there and produce massively. And if you're ready to go into that, well, I'm ready to support you on that as well. It's something that we're...
Kade, just give me a minute. I know this is generating a lot of interest at this time, but I don't have that time. And my dear brother too has other things he needs to do today. So we will be digitally inclined to ensure that we go to that Google form. And if we show a lot of interest, then we're going to have a follow-up session, because we still have my dear brother Wole Oshin of Stanbic IBTC to do his presentation. So let's package all of this together, go digitally, put all your questions, and we will now meet in-house to ensure that we know, we get to where we want to be in the next few weeks. If we demonstrate commitment and courage to be able to make it happen. So at this point, I'm going to thank my dear brother, Babajide Arowoshafe, and my facilitator that have taken over his role because I'm a time freak when it comes to things like this. So please call on my dear brother Wole Oshin, not Adeniyi, so that he can do his own presentation, and we'll follow up with Babajide. Thank you so very much, my dear brother. And I yield the microphone to you, Kayode.